All right, hey there. Good morning, everybody. It is what is it? This is a few minutes after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Tuesday, the 30th of March, 2021, in Boerne, Texas, just north of San Antonio. I'm Christopher Inks with Texas West Capital, and we're glad to have you all here. Who's here already? Mark's here. What's up, man? Bill's here. Sean's here. David, Spiral Architect, Crypto Mowgli checking in as always. Data as always. Esteban, what's up, buddy? Man, good to see y'all checking in. Excuse me. Look at Tellurider's even here on time. It must be a good day. We've had Bitcoin and the DXY hit our target so far, but man, that DXY just keeps on extending. As I've mentioned before, you're not going to always get things moving opposite, like at all times. For instance, if the DXY moves up, a point or something, it doesn't mean that everything else has to move down a point right then. Remember, your markets are dynamic, guys. It takes a little bit of time sometimes for different markets to kind of kick in to deal with that pressure. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind. Also, if there's potentially a bigger sideways pattern playing out, they won't always coincide with each other. So don't get all excited just because Bitcoin's moving up with DXY, a couple of points here at the moment. You're looking at the overall trend and what's going on there, and that's what's important to watch. So we'll talk about that. That doesn't mean I'm bearish or anything, though, of course, everybody always says I am. It's kind of funny, but it is what it is, right? We're in Texas, man. We'd be bullish out here, not bearish. There's bulls, not bears. Let me see here. Patricio, hello. Good to see you checking in. Jordan, what's up, buddy? He says, dollar to the moon. Let me see here. Data real quick says, I wanted to ask you about your channel. Since the first low was based on a spike that just happened on Kraken, no other exchange had that. Maybe that contributed to the channel being a bit tilted to the side, making it look unclean at top. Okay, so Data is referring to over in Discord. I mentioned the idea that that I didn't like the fact that price was pushing back into the channel here. When I look at pattern, I expected this was a pretty clean channel here, and so I expected to be a pattern channel. It's not an Elliott Wave channel. It's a pattern channel. So you're looking for clean alternating moves between support and resistance, which gives you then a clean pattern target once you have a good breakout, but that breakout price needs to stay above it. So it looks like Data saying that this point right here maybe didn't happen on some other exchanges. So maybe this could be a little bit lower. Yeah, it's possible to do something like that. And in that case, this would make a whole bunch of sense here. So, if this is the case on the other exchanges, I haven't had a chance to look yet. But, if this is the case, then this is still a good channel. Things still look good, except that pattern target moves down a bit. That pattern target would be, closer, instead of 66,000, maybe be 65,300, 65,400, around there. Oh, wait, the lower point, 13th. This one over here. Oh, it didn't have this spike down. Okay, never mind. So he's talking about this. I mean, if the top's still there, you still have the breakdown here. This is the problem for me. I'm not so much worried about this. This would be kind of like a spring coming off that, if this is, reaccumulation on this decline here. But I'm interested in this right here. This is my issue. Again, if it was something like this, where you've got this nice clean move on big volume and, large candle spreads, and then it pulls back, does not violate it, and continues up, that's what we're looking for. If it comes back in and violates it in any way, usually, and it's not always, but more times than not, that indicates that this is not the breakout you're looking for. This is not the reversal confirmation that you're looking for. So I've been iffy on that at the moment here. So we're going to see how this plays out. But my target with Discord has been this R1 pivot here, and we almost hit that right there perfectly, right about that area. We're getting the rejection off there. And so if I look at this, here's the thing. we are looking at potentially a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so then that gives you here this, this is like a, a 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now the problem is, that's the assumption right now. But the reality of it is right now is that we've got 5 up for 1, we've got 3 back for 2, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up for 3. So the reality is we only have an ABC at the moment. So we have to be mindful of what happens here now. All right? Because this could just be an ABC. But for right now, we don't have to worry about that specifically. I mean, again, we can still look at this as a 1, 2, and then 1 and 2 of 3 heading up here. So what we'd be looking for is this pullback down toward this green area here. This is basically 56,000 to 56,500. And what that is if we take this as 1 here, whoops, wrong one. If we take this this next move up here as 1, then that basically gives you the 61.8 to the 70.5 retracement there. And so that's why we've got that range there. That also kind of coincides right here with this higher volume node. So if you get this drop through this node right here, this one here at about 58,000, which is just below your 23.6 retracement there, then we would generally expect to kind of hit this node here. Now here's the thing. Excuse me. I talked about this potentially, this still could potentially be an ABC here, and if it is, a decline below this swing low, right below the H1, H4 pivot here. Oh, what is this one here? There we go. 54,690 and 90 cents. Let's see if I can write that on there. Yes. 54,690 and 90 cents. All right. So if we drop below this level, that seals this off. That means this wave cannot, you can't continue pushing up higher, which means this is only 1, 2, 3 waves up, which means this becomes an ABC. Now, why is that important? Because if you'll remember, I've talked about the possibility that we could have a flat or a triangle playing out here, right? So it's possible this could end up being a triangle. So you get this ABC down, ABC up, and then you go, oh, but Chris, it's only an ABC. Well, potentially a WX and then ABC is a Y. So you've got a WXY for a W, and then you've got an ABC for a X, and then you'll have an ABC down for a Y, which will probably take you down here at least toward 47,000 or something like that, get you below that swing low. And so what that then does is now you've got this triangle potentially, this running triangle potentially playing out, where again you've got A, B, and then you get this like this C, and then you'll get D, and probably something like this for an E. So it might end up there around 51,000, 50,000 or so. And then, so that would be 4. Again, 3, triangle is a 4, and then you get your 5 on your break. So we could still go sideways here for a bit with this. I'm not saying it has to happen. Again, before we even think about that being what's going to happen, it has to drop below that swing low, that red line right below the pivot there, that swing low right below that pivot. If it doesn't get below that, if it only gets to the green box and continues up, then we're looking at 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3, and it's going up. And so, of course, it's what we were already looking at bullishly. But that's in case it drops down there, what we'd be looking at there. Ultimately, we still have what we call a bearish market structure here from the 13th of March. If you're new and that sounds a little intimidating, don't be intimidated by it. All it means is basically that we had the high, and we had a low, and then we had a lower high, and then we had a lower low. And so that's again, that's a downward trend from the 13th of March here. So it's a bearish market structure. Now, we break that bearish market structure by getting above the last lower high, which is this one right here. So that's 60,000 here on Kraken. So price has to get above that. Now, even if it gets above that, it doesn't mean it has to go to a new all-time high right then, but it sure as heck increases the odds. All right? So, if you're looking for when to get, when to start feeling like, okay, I could be bullish without being as worried, it would be that move above that 60,000 mark there, because again, that breaks that bearish market structure there. But as always, nothing is guaranteed in trading, guys. And I know if you're new, that's kind of disconcerting, that, that's frustrating and whatnot. But, again, remember, trading is speculation, guys. And so speculation, again, if you look it up in the dictionary, it says that it involves risk. And if it involves risk, then that necessarily means that there are no guarantees. If there was a guarantee, then it wouldn't be risky, right? There are no guarantees in trading, guys. That's why I keep telling you risk management is the most important thing that you'll do as a trader. Day in and day out. Risk management is where you make your money. So, what are we looking for? So now we're looking for a pullback toward the swing low at about 57,000, 57,100 here. Then we're looking for a decline toward the green box. And then we're looking for a reversal out of that to be bullish. But if it doesn't, if it continues on down here through this red line, this 54,690 and 90 cents here on Kraken, whatever that is on your exchange, if it drops below that, then that says this is an ABC right here, and you have to, you're going to be expected to look lower. All right. Let me see here. So now, interestingly, I just came across this morning a tweet. Mr. Bollinger here said, with the PayPal news fully in the market, payments start today. By the way, if you haven't heard, PayPal's doing a thing where you can actually pay with, I think it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, and something else. If you have them in your PayPal wallet or whatever, you can use them to make purchases. And what they're doing is you're not actually purchasing with the Bitcoin or whatever. You're selling it and getting the dollar equivalent at that time. And then that dollar equivalent is what you're paying with. So you're not like, if I was to sell something on there, you wouldn't be giving me, a tenth of a Bitcoin or whatever. You'd be giving me the dollar value, the dollar equivalent, because it would sell that at the time you go to buy whichever you're buying. They're going to sell that Bitcoin or whatever for dollars and then pay in dollars. I'll be honest, I'm kind of excited about that. I'm pretty sick and tired of Coinbase at the moment here right now. So we've still got, my company still has USDC sitting in Coinbase. It keeps erroring out every time I try to take it. So it's been in there for months now. And I can't seem to get Coinbase support to really to get back with me, prior to a month later. Anyway, stupid thing. So, this is a good thing for us. We might actually go to PayPal for the crypto payments. And hey, it's one less step because they're also not going to charge for the conversion to dollars. PayPal charges you all that money. Man, I might just start sending all my stuff to PayPal and saving, all that extra fees that I have to pay Coinbase when I convert out. So, man, I'm mad at Coinbase every day, man. I'll be honest with you guys. I've never had an issue with them as far as people used to have money like withdrawing money or something. I've never had that issue. It's always been snappy, quick, and easy. But this nonsense that I'm dealing with right now as a employer who's utilizing their system, that's supposed to be built for somebody like me to use, it's just stupid. I shouldn't have this. I shouldn't have to wait. Guys, I'm going to tell you what right now. Any of these big companies that tell you, oh, well, we've got longer than usual wait times because of the pandemic or we're working from home or whatever, all that BS excuses, man, don't let them get away with that nonsense. Don't let them get away. That's so much BS, man. You know what? If you're doing business and you're expecting to do customer service via online, you need to hire people, period. There is no reason somebody should have to wait a month to get a response from you. That is never, before the internet, never. It would be unheard of for a company to make you wait a month to get customer service. It's absolutely the worst thing. It's gotten so bad. Sorry, guys. Oh my gosh, so frustrating. Anyway, But anyway, so Bollinger said here, and it says, with the PayPal news fully in the market and no new high for Bitcoin, traders should start considering the possibility of 3 pushes to a high. And then somebody in here was kind enough to explain it for y'all. Let me see here. Oh, where are they at here? They had a picture for you and everything. Let me see here. Well, did he get rid of it here? No, here we go. 3 pushes to a high here. So there it is. 3 pushes to a high. Top often develops as a leading edge of a larger, longer topping formation. The way it forms is typically like this. The first push creates a new high outside the upper band. Talking about Bollinger Bands here. The second one makes a new high and touches the upper band. Third one makes a new high and is below the upper band. Maybe a reliable indicator of decreasing momentum. With it, you may notice that there's also decreasing volume. So, again, we do have that all coming in there. So, just something, to watch there. But definitely something, I guess I bring that up, again, guys, people are just really, really just bullish without thought, really, with Bitcoin. It's okay to be bullish on things, guys, but you have to continue to keep your feet grounded. You have to pay attention to what's going on, okay? The last thing you want to do is get caught, buying at the top or whatever, and everybody's, online is telling you that you just need to buy the dips, you just need to hold, but you don't want to hold for 5 years until it gets to a new high again. So, the idea is just to be cognizant of any emotional leaning you might have when you're trading. It's tough, guys. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's tough, especially at first, and you never fully get over it. It's always something there. You always have to work at it, and the minute you stop working at it is when it'll creep back in and get you. So it's not that I'm completely without emotion these days, even though I've been doing this for 25 years now. It's just that I've learned how to notice that and how to deal with it. It becomes easier with time, but again, that's as long as you continue to do it. But it's, once you don't do it anymore, next thing you know, it'll come back and snap at you. So just some thoughts there. Let me kind of catch up with you guys here. Let me see here. Hey there, Brian, TV Canal. Good to see you guys. Bill, how is your brother doing? We've been praying for him. Hey, thanks, Bill. Yeah, so if you're not in Discord, I did a little update in Discord last night. But he's, he's on the ECMO machine. He's going to be on that for 4 weeks. My sister got to see him for the first time in almost a month yesterday. So that was pretty great, because he had COVID. And even though she had the 2 shots and she had just gotten it and was over and everything, they still said she couldn't see him because he was contagious. But she finally got to see him yesterday, which was great, but nowhere near out of the woods yet. If you guys know, the ECMO machine is basically what they do. That's the very last resort. What it does is they stick a tube in your neck, I guess into your artery or whatever, and the blood comes out, goes through the machine. The machine oxygenates the blood and sends it back into your system. Because what happens is, many times people, when they have some kind of traumatic injury and they're in the hospital, they get something called ARDS. And that just liquid starts building up in your lungs, and so you can't produce oxygen like you normally should. And then you get, your oxygen levels drop really, really low. It's like a last line thing that they do. So hopefully things will be good, but at least you got to see him yesterday, so that was kind of great with that. So I appreciate you all caring. It's odd for me to share something, so personal, publicly, but I do appreciate the kind words, guys. We'll see how things go there. It's definitely not cheap. That machine runs about $5,000 to $10,000 a day. And like I said, he's got to be on it for 4 weeks. So even with insurance, it's extremely expensive. But, the other choice was you don't do it. It was a choice to make to get him on the machine. But if she didn't do it, he was going to die. So, you do what you can do, right? Anyway, let me kind of catch up to you guys there. Hey there, Merv. You are a little bit late. 24 minutes, it looks like, by the timestamp. Bill, no worries, buddy. No worries. Appreciate it. Hank, what's going on, man? Yeah, well, he got put on a ventilator the day before they put the ECMO on him. They weren't planning on doing the ventilator, and then his oxygen levels in his blood dropped so low the night before that they had to stick him on it the night before. The next morning, they put him on the ECMO, and so he's on that now. Yeah. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Tal. Patricio, thank you, guys. Goldocker, good to see you. Edward, thank you, sir. Good to see you checking in. Yeah, basically it's a lung machine. Yeah. It oxygenates your blood is what it does. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, it doesn't change, guys. It doesn't change how I feel about, anything that I feel about when it comes to COVID or whatever. But, it does support what I said, which is those who are susceptible to COVID, it can be quite deadly. That's the thing. It's not that it's all that deadly for most people. But if you're in those categories that, that you could become, that you're more susceptible to it, the odds are it's going to be a lot more deadly for you potentially. So yeah. But anyway, guys, so let's go here. So anyway, that's where we are here. The DXY, man, check that out, guys. It just keeps on keeping on, man. It's that little engine that could, right? So it just continues to subdivide and push higher. If it hasn't topped out where it is right now, I had my target right here at the R1. It looks like this wave 5's subdividing though. It looks like we've got maybe, like a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you 3, 4, and a 5. So anyway, so looking up here around 93.554 kind of area is where I'm looking at now. And if it goes beyond that, then we'll look up here at the R2 pivot. If it continues to overextend or subdivide or something, we'll look there. But there is no quit right now with the DXY. As you can see, we are getting near. Remember, my goal is to get, it needs to get really above this wave 4 up here. Wave circle, Roman numeral 4 at 94.742. It's got to get above that to really kind of say, what, the bottom's pretty significantly likely in. But, it sure is acting bullish at the time. Again, guys, I know a lot of people are, they don't want the dollar to go up because then that worries them that Bitcoin's going to go down. So when they see something like this with Bitcoin, they're like, oh yeah, it's so bullish, it's so bullish. And then they see it with the dollar, they're like, nah, man, nah. That's just going to fall back over. It's going to spill back over. But again, it's all about the emotions in play, guys. So, it is what it is. I've got it right now as a 1, 2, 1, 2. But there's also this possibility that could be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a leading diagonal here, maybe. Your daily has room to go still. 4 hours getting kind of topped out, but for a wave 3, pull back for your 4 and then go for your 5. That could give the wave 4 or the 4 hour and the 1 hour time to kind of breathe a bit before heading higher. Everything else aside, we moved in here. Here's the thing. I talk about this often. Here on the 1 hour, we moved in sideways between the pivot and the R1, and we've continued to accelerate through the pivot, through the R1 pivot. So usually this means that price will head up to the R2 pivot, and everything's bullish, and price will eventually run the pivots. Most often, that's what happens when you kind of move in sideways like this, and you don't get rejected at the R1 to test the pivot. You just continue up on through it. That's a pretty bullish sign. We've looked at that on Bitcoin more than a few times. And like I said, usually it means you're going to continue on up through the R5. But you don't want to see it kind of get stopped out here. You want to see it make that move up toward the R2 before you get any little bit of pullback there. Right now, it's still kind of in that R1 area, so it could still kind of come down and retest on there. Rami, I hope I said that right. Or if not, if it's Rami or something different, please just spell it phonetically. And I'm usually pretty good at remembering. You might have to remind me once, but I want to make sure I get your name right there. But man, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming back. Let me see here. Hank's looking for an expanded flat. Where are you looking for an expanded flat here? I'm not sure where you're looking at expanded flat there, Hank, on this here. Yeah, not sure. You'd have to let me know. Let me see here. I'm going to catch up with you guys here, just see if there's any question I need to do here. Sheepdog, thank you, man. Thank you. Tellurrider says, gee, I feel so lucky. Have a few issues with Coinbase, but after 8 years with them, still fast deposits and fast withdrawals. Yeah, I don't ever have an issue with those things. I've never have, yeah. He said, I send USD to the bank at least weekly. That max issue, if true, is colossal dumb for a company that mature. Yeah, you know, again, my issue right now is just that when I try to, because we use their Coinbase Commerce to accept crypto payments for TWC, you know, to make it easier for you guys, because a lot of you guys, you know, are in crypto and it's just easier for you to pay that way. You choose to pay that way. But once we get it there in Coinbase Commerce, then we have to transfer it out, you know, to another wallet, you know, whether it be Coinbase or something else. And it keeps erroring out when I try to transfer out USDC. So money's just sitting in there for a few months now. It's getting kind of stupid. Let me see here. Oh, Hank, okay, you were joking. All right, got you. So yeah, you know, again, we'll just continue watching there. I think it'll be really interesting, I think, for Bitcoin if DXY gets above this point up here, almost 95. You know, again, that's the big mark that kind of says the bottom should be in for the DXY, and that should make itself known across the markets. Until then, still vulnerable to falling lower there. You know, A, B, could be working on a C here or something. Again, the bullishness of the movement here really kind of suggests that the bottom is probably in. But you know, the big thing you do with trading is looking for confirmations. And so the confirmation is going to be that move above that 94.72, 95 area up here. TLT, we cover this for tier 3 members. We've got 5 down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for 1, and then ABC for 2 at the 65% retracement level, almost filling in completely this gap here. But the gap here is a weekend gap, so it's not like the normal gaps that you guys think need to be filled or whatever. It's a gap just because it was the weekend, and you know, nothing trades on the weekends. So it opened higher on Monday, so it gapped up. But even though that, you know, it's still pretty much closed it there. So I'm looking at that right there on the S1 as likely the end of wave 2 here. That gives us a minimum wave 3 up here at about 143.84. But again, we're always looking for confirmations, right? So if you're just looking at pivots, you go, okay, well, we dropped down, bounced off the S1. If you push up through the pivot, if you're trading pivots, that's a bullish move, and that usually indicates the price is headed up higher. If you're looking at Elliott Wave here, this would be A, B, and C down here. So that wave B swing high up there, 137.23. A move above that, it doesn't even have to close above, it just has to go push 1 penny above it. It can pull back. But the fact that it breaks above that wave B seals off this. It says this is done. What we were talking about on Bitcoin here, same idea. If it drops down below this wave B here, it would be an A, B, C. If it drops down below that, then that says this is done. Again, that would give us an ABC here. Until that happens, I think this is a 1, 2, and then 1, looking for a 2 on this pullback, and then 3, 4, 5 headed up. So yeah, so you know, again, BOD's headed higher there. That's not good for other things usually. You know, same thing we talk about. Let me see here. Hank's going to make a bold statement, but given that relatively little capital is actually invested in the crypto market and most of the players are risk-minded and early adopters, even larger players, we might not see a flight to USD. Let me see. What are you trying to say? I'm going to make a bold statement, but given that relatively little capital is actually invested in the crypto market and most of the players are risk-minded, it sounds like your argument sounds like you would be saying there would be a flight to USD because they've got risk on their mind. So, if USD is going higher, that's a risk-off market, which means risk on assets, people leave them. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying there, Hank. Let's see here. What is this at Bitcoin ABC expanded flat? And now, what if it's an ABC expanded flat and now we're finishing wave 2 and we go wave 3 at big C? Oh, I think you're okay. I think you're still talking about that possible expanded flat we're looking at, this would be ABC down for A, ABC up for B. And then this is BC, and then you're saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess it's possible, but the question is, if that's the case, you're looking for 5 down here. I guess you could look at an ending diagonal. So you can get an ABC as 1, ABC is 2, and then ABC is 3, and then ABC is 4, and then ABC is 5. That could be something, but again, ending and leading diagonals are exceptions to the rule, and so we don't assume necessarily that that's what's going on, but we do keep it in mind as it plays out. In other words, price action has to play out and kind of show us that that's what it is. We do that. I mean, the only other way you get that is maybe like a 1, 2, and then you get this 3, 4 here, and then a 5. My problem with that is you have this large wave 2 and this really tiny wave 4. And while I can't say that that definitely disqualifies it, again, it makes it's rare that you're going to see something such significance and size difference between waves 2 and 4. And so again, it doesn't necessarily say that it isn't, but man, you'd have to, it's going to have to really prove itself there. We'll see how this all plays out. Definitely some possibilities here, but I want to look at the closer possibilities first. So the first thing we look for is, do we get a reversal potentially as low as this green box, and then advance above the swing high, and that says, okay, this is going to continue up, right? Or does it continue down below the swing low here, in which case then we're looking at potentially a triangle. But if it continues dropping down below this swing low here, then it's not a triangle, and it could be a flat, depending on how this plays out here. Of course, the other possibility would be this is a wave 5 up here, and this is all reversal heading down now. But, those things, what I'm trying to say, though, guys, is I don't want you getting hung up on just one interpretation, because they all, whatever they are, you can follow through. These are your validation and invalidation levels. And so you can go short here with this target, and if it bounces up and out of there, great, so you made your profit, right? But if it continues down lower, you can continue to hold your short and see if it gets below this. And if it does, then you would continue to hold below this swing low over here, you see? And so you just kind of play it out like that. It's a heck of a lot easier, guys, than sitting here going, oh yeah, price is definitely going to this level, and then just hoping it gets there. This, looking at it the way I'm looking at it here, it gives you opportunities along the way to make money. Excuse me, without having to wait for price to move $10,000 or $20,000 first. Let me see here. The fact that the crypto market is less reactive to good and bad news, I find promising. I don't know that it is less reactive. I think it's actually the opposite. I think generally crypto is a very emotional asset, and it's quite reactive to bad and good news. It's always been the thing we'd have to do. And if Bitcoin is risk on, and everybody, and the dollar's going up, that means everything should be risk off. So Bitcoin being risk on just means that people are going to when the market is risk on, when people aren't worried, they're going to put money into Bitcoin. But if people become worried, then because Bitcoin would be a risk on asset, they should take money out of Bitcoin, because it is the most risky asset that people are kind of investing in at the moment. And so what does that have to do with the dollar? Well, if the dollar's rising, then that tells us that the markets are in risk-off mode, which means if you have a risk-on asset, you generally expect that asset to lose value. Because remember, it's the whole idea of people going to flight to safety, USD. Forget what all the yahoos on Twitter say, guys. At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's the way it should be or not, the markets, the world doesn't care about your opinion about the dollar. What the world knows is when people get concerned, they go to the dollar. And they go to the dollar because huge economy. And I'm going to tell you what, a big part of it is the fact that the military's got boots on the ground in 190 countries, guys. We've got boots on the ground in every recognized country, every country that the U.S. recognizes, like 190 or 191. We've got boots on the ground in all of them. We've got the world's most advanced military. And so, whether you like that or not, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter whether you like it or not. Having that gives support for the dollar. It gives strength to the dollar. Our economic footprint, the way we, the amount that we can trade, send out and take in, is probably even more important. And so, again, that's when you look, why do people run to the dollar? Why is it the international safe haven? That's why. Whether you like it or not, I don't care. It's not a question about whether you like it or not, or whether you think it should be a different way. I don't like that that things work the way they do, but I recognize that things are what they are. And the one thing I found, guys, as I've gotten older is the more you continue to fight against things the way they are, the more frustrated and depressive you can become, because it doesn't change. It's likely not to change in your lifetime. So I've found in my life that the best way to deal with these things is to figure out how they're working and then just use it to my advantage to make money off it. Because at the end of the day, money is freedom. Period. Money will get you what you want when you want it. You don't like where you're living? It'll let you move. Your government says you can't leave? Somebody's willing to get you out of there if you've got the bucks. Again, I've pointed out this before. We've got the coyotes that help the illegal immigrants into the U.S. across the border, right? If they've got money to pay them, they're going to get them over here. So, money is true freedom. I mean, it just goes beyond everything else. And it doesn't matter whether you think that's right or wrong. It doesn't matter what you think about it. And I think that's probably one of the hardest things. And I've noticed when I've talked to traders throughout the years, I've noticed that seems to be one of the hang-ups that a lot of new traders have, is this: in their head, they think things should be one way or another, but things aren't. But they keep holding their head they should be, so that it doesn't allow them to move beyond what they think it should be. And so they end up, losing a lot of money because they're trading based on what they think things should be rather than the way they are. And I've noticed this a lot more in crypto. And I think that comes in because everybody comes in and they hear all these stories about, crypto is going to replace the dollar and crypto is going to become the world's currency. And the big thing right now is crypto is taking money from gold bugs. Basically, gold, people that put money into gold, they're going to put into Bitcoin, and that's why price is going down. Everybody tries to find an excuse for everything. Usually it's none of the above, none of all that. As we tend to try and explain in Discord and, with our members, we tend to look at things via, socioeconomic theory. And that explains it a heck of a lot better than news events and whatnot. So, again, guys, it becomes, everybody's got an idea of what things should be, but it doesn't matter what you think things should be. How are things actually? That's what matters. And as long as you continue to rely on your beliefs of the way things should be, it's going to make it difficult to make money, because you're not going to understand why price is dropping or why price is rising or why it's not doing what you think it should do at that time. Let me see here. Let me see here. Maybe the dollar is not so much rising as it is moving back to the mean, recovering. Not enormous upside to owning fiat at the moment. Well, again, I think you're wrong on that. I think there's a huge upside to owning fiat. When you think in terms of risk compared to Bitcoin, Bitcoin, people are like, oh, well, governments can't destroy Bitcoin or whatever. Well, governments can keep you from getting involved in it, or they can attempt to, and they enact laws that make it a crime to be involved in Bitcoin, and that becomes a federal matter. And so if you're found to have it, which you will be, then you end up going to federal prison, and most people aren't willing to take that chance, especially once they see people actually getting sentenced for that kind of thing. And they don't have to know you personally doing it. They just have to look at the on-ramps and off-ramps. They just have to get people like Coinbase and everybody else to cooperate. Which, if they're licensed money, money businesses and whatever, like Coinbase is, you dang right they're going to comply. And you say, oh, but DEXs, man, DEXs are decentralized, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but I've talked about this before. Somebody created them. Somebody ultimately has responsibility for them. And that is where the government would direct its efforts. And that person, most, are not willing to spend the rest of their life in jail for that, So, this whole idea that government can't control Bitcoin, sure they can to an extent. Sure. They make it really painful for you to own it if you get caught owning it, sure. But, the flip to that, the other side of that is dollars are required. If you're going to pay U.S. debt, if you're going to pay U.S. taxes, you have to do so in U.S. dollars. So there is a function, there is a requirement to the dollars. While they may be created out of thin air, they are backed by the fact that they must be used to pay these things. You cannot pay these things with anything other than U.S. dollars. And that's not going to change. Because changing it means that all of a sudden you change the demand. You see how this works? It's not as simple as most of crypto Twitter would make you think, guys. I mean, I'm glad people are thinking about hard money and thinking about these things. But again, we have to go from the way we think things should be to the way they actually are. We have to always understand in our lives, anything we're dealing with, how are things really? Because a lot of our frustration and depression in life comes from expecting things to be other than what they are. I mean, so yeah. Let me see here. I appreciate you guys, man. You guys are great. Let me see here. Kind of trying to catch up with y'all again here. Fun Pants, what's up, man? It's a great name. Crypto is kind of financial anarchy. It leaves a lot of room for laundering and economic war crime. Yeah, it does. It does. But, again, guys, remember, the U.S. dollar is used for more illicit goods, more illicit things than anything else. The U.S. dollar is the king of it. Remember, it's harder to track a dollar, a physical dollar, than it is to track a Bitcoin. Oh, but Chris, we can send it through mixers and Monero and all that. And I'm going to say, yeah, and you know what? That ain't going to last forever. We already have them cracking all these things. They're already able to follow pretty well money into a mixer and out of it. It's only a matter of time. Guys, when it comes to technology, it's only a matter of time before that technology becomes obsolete. That's the problem with technology. It has to continually evolve. Otherwise, it'll destroy itself. It'll just go off to nothing. Again, you can think of things like Tor. Tor is that network developed by, the U.S. Navy? Everybody used it, to do all this illicit stuff underground or whatever, and they thought everything was untrackable, right? And then the FBI got Cambridge, students in the master's and PhD program over there at Cambridge in the cybersecurity program to crack it. And they cracked it. And they did it because it was a pedo ring, and, the FBI went in there and took over, that way they could track everybody that was involved in that big international thing you guys may have heard about. But now, it's all trackable on Tor. So, there's just so much to understand that really doesn't get enough attention with general social media when it comes to Twitter. Because these larger concepts, these deeper macroeconomic concepts and global finance and all these things, they're not simple, sound bites. And today's world is basically run on sound bites. It's ridiculous, guys. If you want to have an edge in this world, stop living by sound bites, guys. Put forth the effort to put time into learning and understanding things. It takes work. It takes effort. But edge always does. That's your edge. Let the rest of crypto Twitter and everybody else, mention their silly little sound bites and whatever and think that, that they know what they're talking about. You don't have to do that. Let me see here. So let me go jump in here real quick. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's take a look at oil real quick here. Let's see. So oil, I've got potentially completing this wave parentheses 4 up here. So we've got this 1 expanded flat for a 2. And then we've got a 3 down here, 4 up. And so, we bounced off the pivot here. But I don't think that's it. I think we've got further downside. And so, we're kind of looking for this move down here below wave B. So we've got this flat going on here. Up here we have an expanded flat because you've got A up here, B down below where A starts, and then C up above where A ends. Here we just have a regular flat because we've got the A up, we've got the B back down toward where A starts, and then we've got C ending around where A ends. And so we should look for a movement down here, which I've got this wave 5 at about $56 right now. So we'll see how this continues to play out here. There is the possibility that maybe we've got, maybe it's an ABC here. So if we get this move up past this wave 4 swing high here at 62.27, I think I may lean more toward this being an ABC down and this being, move up. But, this one right here, we want to see it drop below this swing low here, this wave 2. So you get this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a ending diagonal for wave C. So we definitely want to see this drop down here below 59.43. But again, if you take away all this other stuff and you've got your pivots here, if you're dropping down below the pivot, generally that's bearish. In this case, we've already had one drop through where we've got a swing low, so it's not just good enough to get below the pivot, but you have to get below that swing low there. I guess it's 59.41 is that area right there. So if you get below that, that's, putting together quite a story for it to head lower toward that. Let me see here. Oil is used to fund terrorism. Let me see here. Gotta catch with you guys here. You secretly want to get a crypto accountant and pay my taxes like a good boy, Funpan says. Yeah, here's the thing, guys. I don't know how many of you are still not reporting your income here in the U.S., your taxes, when it comes to crypto. But man, it's become a huge thing with the government. IRS is really putting together a huge crypto tax force. And of course, their cooperation comes from people like Coinbase and all these other exchanges, these on-ramps and off-ramps. And I think it's only a matter of time. Here's the problem. You won't get away with, oh, I didn't know. You will not get away with, I'm telling you guys right now. And if you're failing to pay your taxes, if you're not paying them on purpose, which let's face it, at this point now, you've got to pay taxes. And if you're not, you're choosing to do it on purpose. That's a federal offense, guys. That's not a slap on the wrist. It's federal jail time. Now, the good news is you can always get a hold of the government, and you can even do it online, and you can set up, you can send in corrected tax returns, and then you can set up a payment plan online. I'm telling you guys right now, I think that'll save you from probably going to jail if you were to ever get caught. Not legal or tax advice here, guys, but I'm just thinking, it's a lot for them to actually have to go through the whole prosecuting and everything, but they're more than willing to do it because people aren't, paying their taxes. And guys, you got to know I hate paying taxes, man. God, taxes are so, and the way they get you on taxes, it's so stupid. But I'd rather pay it and deal with it and bite the bullet and do it than the alternative. I don't want to go spend jail time at Club Fed or anything like that, I like being able to make money freely out here. I like my my living accommodations here, opposed to, federal prisons. So, yeah, I just want you guys to really think about that. Again, I'm not a fan of having to pay taxes, but I'm telling you guys right now, man, you need to. Don't be stupid and then get caught, because they will prosecute the heck out of you. And the more money that you have not reported, the more in tax that you haven't reported, the harder they're going to prosecute you, because they're going to make an example out of you. That way other people don't do the same thing. Let me look in there. So just some things to kind of pay attention to there, guys. I know the talk is always out there, oh, I don't want to pay taxes and whatever. I'm not going to pay my taxes. They can't catch me. Oh, yeah, they can, and they will. It's not worth it, guys. Anyway, so there was that on there. Like Sheepdog says, when the IRS comes for you, they come hard. They do, man. They do. Let me see here. Mark, I like the way you're thinking, buddy. That's exactly the way I think. He says, be happy that you have income to be taxed. Profits, baby. Yeah, exactly, guys. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, the whole idea of taxes, the whole idea of taking money from somebody who does not want you to take that money from them. I mean, I hate that idea. But, again, the alternative, unfortunately, is to go to jail. Or to move somewhere where you don't have to pay taxes on crypto. So think of places like potentially Puerto Rico. I think Portugal, somebody was saying, I think is a good place. Malta, I think, has a decent crypto environment there. There are places in this world you can leave, guys. You can live. That give you significant tax advantages. And if you really hate paying taxes that much or whatever, and you don't have a necessarily need to be, a citizen of whatever country you're in, definitely something worth looking at. Definitely, especially if you're making considerable profits in cryptos, consistently. God, imagine that. Imagine being able to keep all the profits you make and never having to worry about it. I mean, just the fact that you don't have to fill out those annoying tax forms and all those paperwork alone is pretty great, right? Hank says, I wish you a lot of taxes is an actual Dutch Jewish proverb. It means you wish someone well financially. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I wish you a lot of taxes. Well, the general thought behind it, obviously, some countries you can raise those taxes and regardless of whether you're making more money or not. But yeah, the general idea being that, if you have to pay taxes because you're making more, so that's a good thing. Yeah, I like that. See here. If you're a U.S. citizen, doesn't matter where you live. Sure it is. You can actually move to Puerto, and I'm not legal or tax advice, but go look up moving to Puerto Rico. You're still a U.S. Citizen. You just hold a residence in Puerto Rico. And so the taxes, the way I understand it, is that your taxes on buying and selling property, so stocks, crypto, stuff like that, there aren't any taxes on that. But again, make sure that you guys, if that's something you're interested in, make sure you go do the actual legwork you have to do to figure out everything that's involved. You have to buy a house over there. You have to spend so many days on the island. They don't have to be together, but you do have to spend so many days on the island of the year. It's about just over half the year you have to spend there. But, if you're okay with that, living on an island for half the year, you could live the other half of the year in Colorado if you want. Or Texas. We're great here. Or heaven forbid, New York. I don't know why you'd want to live there. So, I mean, there are, even if you're a U.S. citizen, and like I said, in this case, in Puerto Rico, you don't lose your U.S. citizenship. You just, because they are not a state, but they're a country that's, property of the U.S. basically, you get to abide by their tax laws. As long as you follow everything correctly in what you're doing and how you're doing it. So, yeah. No, taxes on crypto, Patricio, is what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's all, and as Telluride says, it's only on profits after you move there. Which, like I said, if you are a consistently profitable trader, man, you pay your get out of the U.S. card, you pay that on your taxes on the income you've earned there, and then everything else you earn over there. Like I said, it's also on stocks and whatever as well. So there's a lot of potential money that you can save in taxes if you're an adept trader or investor. There being a resident there of Puerto Rico. But again, it's a big thing. There's a few things you have to look through and whatever to do it. But if you're interested, you should check it out. See here. Yeah, Bobby's saying there are if you're a professional trader, you have to pay, but that's because it's a business then. Say that these are the things I tell you guys you got to look at. But even if you have a business, you can save a lot of taxes by having your business there as long as you sell your product outside the country. I think you pay like 4% in taxes or something like that. There's just a whole bunch that you have to look through, guys. Talk to somebody that's some attorney or lawyer, some attorney or a tax professional that's adept with the system out there and understands it. So yeah. Yeah, but you still have to pay taxes on money you earn, Hank, if you do something like that here in the U.S. The U.S. is going to get its taxes one way or another if you're living, in the continental 50 states here. But yeah, definitely have to do your homework, guys, okay? But if I've piqued your interest in, if you're in the U.S., you don't want to lose your U.S. citizenship, it's definitely something to think about. The other thing to think about, of course, is, it wasn't too long ago, just a few years ago, they had the hurricane that went through there and the really bad response there, So the other thought is you might have to run into Peter Schiff. So if you're not a fan of Peter Schiff, that might turn you off as to be a resident out there. Oh, man. So, yeah. But there's a lot of places in the world, guys, where there's a much better tax treatment currently on crypto and even trading in general. So, you know, again, I talk about money being true freedom. Money to get to those places and then to increase your wealth substantially, right? Because you don't have to pay the tax that you would here, right? So anyway, so there's your oil. What's going on with the stock market here? Let's look. So we've got the NASDAQ here. Oops. All right, so NASDAQ, I had this as an AB down here, but looking at how this is playing out, I think we may have like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And then an A and a B and a C or something like that, where you've got your B here. And then you have your C up here maybe toward the 78.6 at around 13,155. But if price is dropping below this swing low here, basically the S1 pivot on the 1 hour, right there around 12,672 and 72 cents. If we're dropping below that, that tells me that this ABC of whatever should be done in here. We're heading lower. This is the one index that actually has stayed down pretty low. You can see that we're, you know, not really anywhere near, you know, we're 900 points off the, or almost 1,000 points off the all-time high here. Now, the difference that you're going to see here with the S&P, this is the E-minis here. So a couple of possibilities here. One is that this count is correct and we finished wave 2 almost at the all-time high, but still below it. So if we get this continuation down through wave B here at about 3904 or so, that should open up a move for wave 3 down here to around excuse me, a minimum of 37.49. However, if price continues to push up from here, if this pivot holds and it continues to push up, then looking at this, we might actually see this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, working on a 5 here as an ending diagonal. And I would have to update the count then, but basically that would have, you know, a minimum target of this ascending resistance line and potentially a thrust through it as maybe like an overthrow and then come back in. And so that's what I'd be looking at here. And then, of course, when you look at the Dow Jones, which looks, you know, closer in terms to what the E-minis do, what the S&P does than the NASDAQ in terms of how high it's gone, because it's actually gone above. It's created a new all-time high. So this new all-time high here with the Dow Jones has not been confirmed by the S&P or the NASDAQ. So again, we're going to watch and see what happens here. If you're coming to an end of a trend and an index is not confirmed by another index, you know, like we just talked about, that divergence is usually an indicator that the top is there. So we'll see what happens. You know, again, that the S&P still remains above that wave B, so it's still vulnerable to going higher. It is I mean, you know, it's possible we've got like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it's possible we've got this 5th wave done just above the 3rd wave here. But again, we're going to need this move down below this swing low right here at 32,684 and 20 cents. So basically below the pivot. We need to see that move happen to be the first clue that maybe that tops in. But then we really need to see a drop below wave 4 here at 32,071 and 40. And that should really start adding some confidence locally that the top may be in here. Can the Q just jump to dump to 270 and get it over with? No, unfortunately, I don't think so, man. I don't think so, FOMO Factory. Let's see here. So we've got that. Silver, you guys, I don't know if you guys are still trying to long silver. But there we go. Further downside. Hit my wave 5 target right here. And so now we're going to see if demand's got enough to kind of pull up. You can see it's well oversold here on the 4 hour. Stochh RSI is just about bottomed out here. Starting to curl a little bit. If we jump over here to the 1 hour, 1 hour trying to maybe get a bit of a reversal. You got some wicks down there. I was looking at maybe a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5 here, but this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still to go a little bit lower here. So we're just looking to get that reversal off there. But I think it should reverse somewhere around where it's at. And if it does, it should get up here around this, I've got the 50% here marked where we're at here at about 25,385. But really, we're kind of looking, at 25 to 25.35 kind of area here. We get this high volume node. And at that point, that should be, your 1, 2, working on a 3 then of your circle 3 here. So coming off that top, we've got a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and working on 3 right now, which should have a minimum target then down here of around 1962 or so for this larger wave 3. It'll probably continue to overextend though, so it'll probably be lower than that, but it's minimum target there. Let me see here. So gold, let's see here. Oops, let's get there. All right, so gold finally had its roll over here. We were waiting for it, as you can see here with this green range here. We were waiting for it for a while. As always, the longer price consolidates, the harder and further it's going to push when it finally breaks out. So, we've got this move happening down here. I've got a minimum wave 5 of 3 target here at 1641. So that's kind of where I'm looking overall at the moment. This move down has almost reached this previous wave 3 swing low here. So we might get a bit of a bounce and then continuation down for it. But we should get it down here for wave 5 here of 3, at least at 1641. But again, that move off the top there. Everybody's continued to tell you to buy the dip, guys, since back here last August. God, we were at the highs last August, guys. Beginning of August. So that's what, 7 going on 8 months now, next month? 8 months? Man, let my hair grow on a little bit. So it's kind of tickling my head as it grows in there. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, within this large channel here, and we're breaking down in that. Again, bearish market structure from back then. High, low, low. Well, I guess high, low, lower high, lower low here so far. Potentially lower low still coming. So yeah. Let's see here. What else we got here? Man, USD yen has been one of those ones, guys, that we follow through a couple of times a day here, and it's just been something. A lot of money been made just longing that with us there. We've got this move up off the lows, guys. Let me zoom out here a bit. Look at how beautiful that is up off the lows there. Way down here. So, longing off 102.5 basically. And we're up 110 now. So that's, this year off those lows where we've been kind of following it up. Pretty close to there to where we are now. I mean, that's 770 pips so far. That's an insane amount of money to be made off that. Just had to buy that. What I've been telling Discord for a while now is, once we get the reversal, you just need to buy in or sell in depending on which, pair you're looking at. And you can just set that and let it go and just ride it for however long you want to ride it, basically. But there you go, man. There's your move up there. I think we've still got higher to go here. Coming off, there's a 1, 2, and then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives you a 3 and a 4. It looks like 5 is a 1, 2, 3, 4. So as long as this, swing low holds here, we should be looking at minimum target about 110.649. But that's just 5 of 5 of 3. If that happens, we should then get a pullback down toward about 109.79. Get you right here into this this structure right here, potentially here to 109.5. But, you know, basically you should be looking for that circle 4 should take you back to this area right here. And then you'll have that move up higher for that circle 5 coming out. Yeah. So we're looking at the U.S. dollar against the Japanese yen here. So the U.S. dollar is rising in value against the Japanese yen. So if you're talking about oil plays and the dollar and everything, USD CAD is interesting. Whoops. Oops, leave page. There we go. Because as you may not know, the loonie, the Canadian dollar, a lot of its value is derived from how well oil is doing. So if oil is dropping, if the value of oil is dropping, that usually puts downward pressure on Canadian price, on Canadian value. So if you've got oil dropping, dollar rising, you know, the USD CAD pair then usually sees that coming up. I think we've finally got a bottom. We've been looking for a bottom for a while. I think we finally got it here almost 2 weeks ago here. And so I've got us at a 1. And I've got two possibilities here. One is that we've got an ABC done as a running flat here. So 1, 2. The other possibility this morning, based on this rejection here at the R1, could be that we've got a bit of an expanded flat going. So then we have this red count, which is A down here. And then A, B, C for B up here. And then you'll have 5 down toward this 1.25345 area, right around the 38.2. By the way, usually with leading diagonals, price will pull back just to the 38.2. That's usually where you have your cluster at. So you got your 1, 2, and then your 3, 4 right into that area there. And then, of course, you know, bounces in for 5 up there. So usually you're only going to get that pullback to around 38.2. But if it does not continue on up through here, then we'll be looking for that pullback down here toward this. Then we got a wave 3 minimum target up there about 1.29. So again, the dollar rising against the Canadian dollar, the loonie there. Let me see here. How long are my longs, if that makes sense? Typically, for Forex. Forex is the one market that I probably have the shortest trades on. Because the way I trade Forex is I tend to use pretty heavy leverage. So it only takes a few pips of movement to really make a good bit of money. I say a few pips, 10, 20 pips or whatever. But I try to get into multiple trades in a day. But, again, if you're a newer trader, and whatnot, you'd probably look for a longer time frame. So you can hold on to trades for, longer in there. Just lower your leverage a bit. But, Forex was where all the crypto traders that you see there in crypto, because they think it's so easy and that you can make money so quick and, and all these things. Those are the same people that have been in Forex that have gone, the same reason people have come to Forex for decades and decades. The exact same idea. So the interesting thing about me when I moved over to, started crypto back in January 2017, is that I came directly from Forex. I started off with equities when I first started trading about, 25 years ago. Eventually added into Forex, the FX market there. And then most recently, of course, in 2017, January, they're moving into crypto as well. But there were so many similarities between the mindset of traders that are getting into, retail traders getting into crypto, and those that for so many years I noticed were getting into Forex. And so it's the same type of get rich overnight personality type. There's not a whole lot of difference in the type of person that's jumping into crypto versus the type of person that's always, jumped into Forex. So, yeah. Let me see here. What makes you want to trade something longer term than something else? It just depends on what it is. So, as I often talk about, your equities markets, your commodities markets, crypto is generally, the market is generally expected to continue up. It moves right and up over time. And you're going to have pullbacks along the way, but your assets are gaining value over time, right? Your crypto or your Forex most often is just sideways. Now, it may take a decade, but it's really sideways. You don't expect the value of your currency to continue to rise forever. It usually rises and stays within a band. Now, yeah, of course, there's obviously, exceptions to that, but generally that's how, especially if you're trading the most liquid pairs, the Euro USD is the most liquid pair for Forex. But, so there's a different mindset when you're trading crypto, when you're trading, FX versus crypto or equities or something like that, because you don't expect your currency to continue forever rising in value. Yeah. So that, like I said, usually leads to a different type of trading. It's better for me. I like it, especially for newer traders, if they can get over the whole leverage thing and try not to get rich overnight. It's great because you don't then have a real bias. If you're buying Bitcoin, you're buying it because you're hoping it goes to $1 million or something, right? So you've already got that built-in bias. If you buy the dollar, you're not hoping it goes to, $100 or, I say $100, but you're not hoping that value continues to go up forever because it's not going to. Well, you should know that anyway. So it kind of allows your brain to kind of relax on the whole hyper bullish emotional thing that you usually get with something like crypto or equities or something like that. Yeah. Let me see here. Let's see here. Hank says, not that I believe it is Chris's goal to become a YouTube guru anymore, but still only 12 likes for 61 people watching. Come on. That is what it is, man. I would appreciate it if you guys hit the like, sure, but I'm not going to hound you guys about it. Figure if you want to, you do it. And I realize some people might want to, but they won't think about it, but I'm not going out of my way to. So I appreciate you, Hank, telling them, reminding them. I don't know. Here's the thing, guys. What I do here will never be mainstream with social media and YouTube and Twitter and all that because I'm not hyper bullish. I'm not emotionally into anything. And the sad thing is most new traders who come in, that's what they want to hear because it confirms what they're looking for because they don't know what they're doing. They're just getting in and hoping it goes up. And, I could do that. I mean, physically I could do it. I really couldn't do it though. I've never been able to do that. Ask Hank, he's been following me for multiple years now. I think pretty much since the beginning. I've never been able to do that, guys. I got to tell you what I'm thinking and let it be. Unfortunately, if that's what you want is the emotional bullishness, you can find it out there. You can find it. It's not the best thing, but you can find it. And you live by the sword, you die by the sword, right? I'd rather give you all an honest look at the markets and trading in general so that maybe you can hang around for a bit so that you can actually be a trader rather than just somebody who hopes, worse than gambling, right? Do I read a lot of news? What do you mean, read a lot of news? I mean, I keep up with news, yeah, but I don't go out of my way to search it down usually. Except for the bigger headlines. We're talking about more macroeconomic issues. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, Hank. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm only emotional about my capital preservation and appreciate. That's right. That's right. I guess I do get emotional about that, about risk management, because again, guys, I've been where y'all are, where y'all are when you're first starting out, and even though I've been doing this for as long as I have, I still remember, I can still feel those feelings. When I think back to specific activities that happened during that time, I can still feel what I felt at that time. So, when I talk to you about what you're feeling and what, it's never it's never anything to make you feel bad or anything. It's always coming from the point of, listen, I've been there. I know what you're feeling. I know how tough that is. But I'm also here to tell you that, listen, I made it through it, and so can you. And hopefully I can give you enough information here that you don't have to make as many mistakes as I made, that you don't have to lose as much money as I've lost over the years. But as I always say, again, at the end of the day, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. It's up to you to actually accept what I'm saying and to allow it to change your thinking. And that's a difficult thing, guys. I'll never fault you for not. It is tough. But, if you're here, hopefully those things are for you there. What's going on, Sam? What are some good Forex brokers? It depends where you're at. Currently, I use Forex.com. For me, it's a beneficial, they've got special things they do for you at higher monthly volume transactions. You can get access to dark pools and whatnot, so extra liquidity, especially for your large trade, so that's great. But even not at that late, even at just their basic level, their spreads are real small. Usually it's about 1.1 to 1.3 on Euro USD. So that's the spread you have to pay before you're making money. So when you enter 1.1 or 1.3 pips below the price you're trying to enter at. And then when you get to the price you're trying to enter at, now everything above that's profit. So you don't pay commissions, though they do have a way in which you could pay commission if you wanted to. I don't know. I think for most people it's pretty silly to pay the commissions. It's pretty easy just to pay the spread. But if you're outside the U.S., I don't know personally. We've got a lot of members that are outside the U.S. at TWC, and many of them are from across the water over there, usually UK, Asia, Japan, Australia, stuff like that. And they tend to have ideas of decent brokers that they use. The one thing I would suggest to you guys, be careful with if you're going to get a Forex broker, especially if you're going to get one, from overseas. Just be careful with who you're getting at there. A lot of them come in here and then they'll nickel and dime you on fees, and they'll charge you a large spread. You want to go with a larger, more well-known rather than a little small fly-by-night guy. I mean, you really do. Larger means they're regulated, means that you don't have to worry about getting screwed, on stuff. By the way, also understand that when you're trading Forex, your broker is going to automatically take positions against you. And all I mean is, if you go and buy, say, if you long $50,000 against the euro, they're going to short $50,000 against the euro because they provide that liquidity. The broker provides the liquidity. But if you get to a huge, whatever their levels are, significant amount of monthly volume, then most brokers have higher levels that you can get into where you can get closer access to actual liquidity outside the broker. But just because the broker's taking the other side of your trade doesn't mean that they're cheating you or whatever. They're just providing the liquidity, guys. That's all. And then they balance that by actually trading out in the the real Forex market. So just something to think about there. I don't want you guys, I had a few people at one point think that it was bad that their broker was taking the other side of the trade. But again, that's just to provide liquidity for their brokerage there so that you can get in and out of trades. Yeah. Let me see here. So just some thoughts on that, guys. You really like the way I engage with you? Thanks for taking the time and actually answering people's questions. You're welcome. Unfortunately, I can never ask them, answer them all, but I do my best. And try to do what I can. That's why these end up going a little bit longer than other people's. which ends up being a turn off for a lot of people out there, but it is what it is. Again, guys, let me explain something to you. If you're living your life in sound bites, if you think it's not that you don't have time to do a thing, it's just that you don't value that thing as much as you value something else. And so you choose to do that other thing with your time. You have the time, you just choose to do it, use it doing something else. It is what it is, guys. When it comes to trading, if you choose to spend your time listening to 5-minute clips, well, I mean, if that's your sole way of what you're doing, I think you're really shortchanging yourself. Trading is not something you learn to do overnight. It requires a lot of reminders because you have to change habits. And a lot of them you don't even realize are habits. And it won't be the first time that I mention it or the 5th time that I mention it for some of y'all. It might be the 10th time that I mention it that it finally clicks. We all kind of get to that point in our own time. But you have to get to that point. And you can't get to it if you don't hear the information enough. So, you guys are here. You're showing up. I appreciate that. You spend some time. I realize we're all busy. I'm busy, guys. I usually start with TWC. I'm usually looking at things by 7 or 7:30 in the morning, logging on by 8, and then I'll get done at 1 or 2 in the morning. That's usually my day. I take about an hour and a half throughout the day, somehow in there, to step away and grab something to eat. But really, that's what I do right now. So I understand about being busy. I do. You just have to prioritize what's important for you. That's all. But you're not going to become, I'm going to tell you what, you're not going to become a trader by 5-minute or 10-minute video clips. You're not. It's just not it, man. So, yes, I'm busy updating Discord. Do I read a lot of news? No, I don't read a lot of news. Like I said, I keep up with the major events and things. I basically have my ideas about what's going on in the world. I don't keep up with a lot of pop stuff. Stuff usually any news I'm keeping up with is more, macroeconomic kind of stuff. What's going on with things. Everything else, I don't know. A lot of the other stuff, the social media, the pop news or whatever, I think it's just a time suck. I mean, I note that things are being said. I don't go into, deep articles about what's going on. But I notice what's going on, what's being said, because, again, we teach everything from this idea of what, Prechter has labeled as socioeconomic theory, something that took me 20 years to figure out, and then come to find out he wrote a book himself just a couple years back. It's the socioeconomic theory of finance. It really will change the way in which you look at the market in the world, guys. Pretty great stuff. But, that's understanding what's going on with social things that are happening. All this kind of leads to these cycles in society, which are then played out in the charts. So, yeah. TWC is Texas West Capital. That's my company. You can get us there at howtotradetowin.com. This right here. You can come here and check out what we do and whatnot. But like I said, it's howtotradetowin.com. So we just call it, again, it's Texas West Capital. We just call it TWC for short. It's quick and easy. Let me see here. But yeah, and of course what we do here though is, we just, we really kind of take a holistic approach to markets and what's going on as a general basis for understanding. And then we, there's a lot, like I said, we got over, 70 hours of education in there now, video education, more every week. And we kind of teach you how to do different things. We teach you how to do Elliott Wave or Wyckoff or supply and demand structures that I draw. These, Generally these blue looking things here. Patterns, stuff like that, indicators, all that kind of stuff, and then really preach a lot about risk management. But I think the real benefit for what we do there is just the community of people that we have. We've got an amazing group of traders. You've talked to many of them here. You've seen many of them talking here in the chat, and they're really great. Most of our members have been with us for well over a year. Many of them have been with us since we started back in September of 2009. For those of you that don't know, Scott Melker was one of the very first people to ever join back then. And it's great. It's been great just seeing him grow and doing the things he's doing. But yeah, so, that's what we do there. But we offer setups and stuff depending on what tier you're at and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's all about education, guys. And so if you're not, I'll be honest with you, if all you're looking for is somebody to give you buy and sell signals, don't waste your money with us. Again, we do have great setups. Some of our traders have just made stupid amount of money especially over the last year. But everything we do really is based around education. I don't want you to depend on me. I want you to learn how we do things so that way you can go and make your own money. You don't have to depend on anybody else. If I'm not around, how are you going to know to exit a trade or enter a trade? That's the way it is anytime you're trying to follow somebody to tell you when to enter and exit, guys. So, yeah. Sean says, can't keep up with the education, with all the education. So much information, too much life. Let me see. I can't read your name. You're in red there. Is that 1337 at the end of your number? The name of your name there? Says, I want education, but 99% of the stuff I read or watch online is garbage. I'm here for the first time. Appreciate the honesty. Yeah. And that's one of the things I've pointed out before. You guys are so great, man. You're so fortunate in one respect that you have so much information at your fingertips out there, right? And a lot of it's free. But the other side of that sword is that because it's so easy to put information out there and whatnot, much of what you're going to read is either a half-truth or an outright lie. And the difficult thing when you're a new trader is trying to figure out, well, what am I reading that's actually truthful or fully correct? Because even if it's just partially true, it's just enough to seem like it's correct. But if you follow through with it, you find out that you're not doing it correctly and you're losing money. And that's the difficult thing. So yes, it is possible to learn to trade without paying anybody anything online, just with the free information out there. But you're going to pay via whatever you're losing, and you're going to lose a lot because the information is, I guess the way I want to say it is, there's a lot of people out there that make it sound like they really know what they're talking about. And as a new trader, they're going to hit a lot of the things you want to hear. And that's why they talk about it that way. Sadly, a lot of them don't even realize that they're incorrect. And that's even more dangerous, right? But, my philosophy in life, not just in trading, is if I want to learn something, I usually try to find somebody that I can pay to teach me. I want to find somebody who's doing it well and has been doing it a long time. Excuse me. Sorry, I was trying to hold off on that. Because usually the money you spend in that type of thing is a lot less than the money you're going to lose if it's something you're doing for money. Or if it's a skill that you're trying to learn, like a sport or something, you're going to lose a lot of time trying to get better at it when there's, specific ways you can go about becoming better. Again, guys, it's the reason why people who are trying to get into top colleges pay these tutors. It's the reason why people who want to be the best at what they do, whether it's, playing musical instruments or playing a sport or whatever, again, they pay coaches because it accelerates their learning. They skip a lot of the stuff that they would have done that they shouldn't be doing. A lot of mistakes they would have made. They skip a lot of those. So, That's just kind of the way I look at it. Yes, it's possible. Sure, it's possible to make money learning how to trade with the free resources online, but it's most likely going to cost you a lot more than it ever would have cost if you paid the right person. And of course, you're also going to lose time on that. When I started in 95, guys, we didn't have internet like this and everything. I know some of y'all are young, you're going, what? No internet? Again, I like to tell you, my first foray into education, other than books at the library, was a $200 a month physical newsletter that I used to get in the mail once a month. It's $200 a month. That's all I got. To this day, I don't even remember who that was. But he would talk about, it was a guy, and he would talk about his, God, I gotta think of what his name was. But he would talk about, the way he was viewing the market coming up and things that were going on, and then give you little, tips and tricks about trading or whatever. But that's where I started. So yeah, $200 a month for one small multi-page physical newsletter that I get in the mail every month, guys. Crypto Malgly says barely alive in 95. 1337, thank you. I appreciate that. I sneezed there. You said bless you. Hey there, Block Tech. Good to see you checking in, buddy. So yeah, lots of stuff there. What are my thoughts on what's behind the dollar rising? Is it a change in consumer behavior, saving more? Honestly, it's just social behavior, guys. Everything, if you look at what's happened over the last 10 years, risk on has been the theme, right? So the stock market's just risen stupidly and the dollar's dropped, It rose at first, and then you got about 2016 or so, kind of did the drop thing there. And most recently there in March of last year, after it first shot up and then it dropped with everything that happened there. But really, it just comes down to what are people doing? What's going on? And so if we look over the last 10 years, is this rise in risk on? Well, that can't continue going forever. You can't continue redlining your vehicle, right? If you're driving it, right? You can't continue putting the RPMs at the red line forever. At some point, the engine's going to give out. And it's the same idea with what's going on. The thing I talked about when we were coming down to that 90 area was how the market was at almost historic levels of dollar bearishness. And one thing I'd like to tell you guys is in any market, financial market, you are not rewarded for too long being that far off sides. So when you get to the point where 90% or 92% of the participants are bearish, the odds are it's going to reverse. If 90 or 92% of the people are bullish, it's going to reverse. Now, it doesn't have to reverse right at that point, but it's just a good indicator of what's coming up with it. So it's just the way that human behavior continues to ebb and flow. I mean, everybody's going to try and find all these other reasons, these mathematical, macroeconomic reasons. I'm not a big fan. The way economics are taught this day is a real emphasis on math-based economics, so econometrics. I'm not a big fan of that. Economics, at the end of the day, is basically two people coming together to buy and sell at a certain price. It's that coming together to create that action. That's what economics is, guys. They've turned it into this math-based thing, but at the end of the day, it really is a social thing. And so if you've got any background in Austrian economics, you'll understand what I'm saying. A price, everybody talks about price and, that isn't the real price and that isn't the real price. Price is determined at the point of exchange. Only at the point of exchange. Anything else, people are going to tell you, that's not the real price, or it should be this price or that price. It doesn't matter what you think it should be. At any given point in time, the price is what it is at that last transactional value. So if we look at Bitcoin against the dollar here on Kraken, right now the price is $58,831.20. That was the last transacted price. That is the value of it there. Now, it's going to change as people come into the market and leave the market, as you have other pressures on you, with things that are going on and beliefs about, and often, guys, it isn't so much what's actually happening, it's the belief of what's happening or what's going to happen that causes price to move. Again, what we see here at the charts, this is just a visual representation of that movement between fear and greed. The two greatest human emotions there, fear and greed. And of those, fear is the greater emotion. People will tend to do things that take away pain or produce pleasure. I mean, this is basic, guys. This is the most basic way you can look at it. So especially in the markets, and anywhere else, but especially in the markets here, taking away pain is the biggest thing. So that's why you usually see the hardest moves are with the drops. People trying to get out before they lose. The pain is in losing, right? So they jump out without paying attention to what's going on there. The socioeconomic theory of finance, yes. How did I afford $200 a month in 95? I worked a couple of jobs. Something I've said before, and I'll say it again here. Sometimes people tell me, well, I don't have the money. I can't afford to do A, B, or C. And I say, okay, physically that might be correct at the time, but I honestly feel like if you want to do something, you'll find a way to get the money to do it. And I don't mean you should go out robbing people, but if you want to do something and it costs you $200 a month and you don't have $200 extra spending cash, you're going to work to make that $200 extra a month so you can do that, if it's important enough to you. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. That's not me saying easy. And I understand in some parts of the world, things are tougher than other parts. I get all that. But the basic concept is you will find a way to do the thing that you really want to do. Period. As human beings, that's one of our greatest strengths, is that determinism. Being determined to do that thing which we want to do. Yeah, like Telluride says, you can have anything you want, you just can't have everything you want. Exactly. So yeah. It's a shame we can't have the TWC real life meetup we always discussed in 18 and 19. Yeah, I know, right? Especially with COVID now. But don't think I've given up on that. I'm still trying to figure out a way to make that happen with COVID and everything now going on and whatnot. I would love to be able to, I really want to put on an event, guys, an in-person event here in this area, where I'm located at, San Antonio, Kerrville, Bernie kind of area, where we can have people come down. Y'all could fly in if that's what you want to do, a conference type thing. Free I say free, you got to pay for the conference, but where we have different speakers and whatnot, and we have education and stuff like that going on there, and so you guys can meet each other. I think that would be in person. I think it'd be absolutely great. So Mark's gonna bring maple syrup from Canada. Man, Hank, you aren't kidding there, buddy. You aren't kidding. I hope so too. Let me see here. Spacebird says, the friends who tell me they don't have money to invest are the same guys who just spent $200 on an ounce of weed. So yeah, people will find the money they need to do the things they want. Exactly. And I'm not here to actually, me saying that is not in any way me trying to put anybody down or to judge anybody. I think people should pursue what makes them happy, as long as they aren't hurting somebody else. But the reality is what it is. I don't have a lot of time in my life for people that complain or victims. That like you said, they'll find money to spend on scratch offs and eating out all the time and buying a new car or something, and then they'll say, oh, but I don't have the money to do this. I'd love to be able to trade or invest. I just don't have the money. Well, you do. You just chose to spend it on something else, and that's okay if that something else makes you happy. But don't try to fool yourself or fool anybody else and tell us, hey, I don't have the money, or I didn't have the money to do it. Yeah. You're going to bring Stroop waffles? I don't even know what that is. Oh, my gosh. Let me see here. You guys are great, man. But I like that, y'all are really great. Those that come and watch. Again, it's not usually a whole bunch of people because we go on a bit longer and we talk about things that aren't necessarily bullish all the time, and that destroys the view a lot of retail traders have. And so as a human being, it's hard to have our emotional beliefs challenged. But it is what it is. So I appreciate those of you that come in. And even especially if you don't agree with me on some of the things I say, but you keep coming back, and not coming back to be a jerk or anything, but just coming back because you're interested in listening. Man, that's it, man. That's what it's all about. It's about entertaining other ideas beyond what we think, especially if we're new to a subject matter. It's easy to lie to ourselves and think that we're better at things than what we are. So yeah. There's syrup waffles. You can buy them in the U.S. now, called Stroop waffles. Man, I'm going to have to check that out. Man, I'm from the U.S. though, so, chicken and waffles, man, that's what it is. I don't know if you guys ever had it. Seriously. You got chicken on top of waffles and syrup. That's what it is, man. It's great stuff. Syrup and beer, I don't know about that. Let me see here. Is there anything else I can show you guys here real quick? Oh, hey, if you guys are interested in the cable against the USD here, we'll pop that up here for you. So we noted, I had somebody ask for they had a chart request. Gosh, oh my gosh, I guess it was up here, wasn't it? Yeah, they had a chart request over here. And I told them, I think it was right about this area right here. It was in this wick here. This is a 1 hour wick here. But somewhere right around this area. And I said, I think that's probably it. We're going down from here. So, if you're short in here, you can probably just short for as long as the dollar continues to rise against the Great British Pound. And as you can see, that's turned out to be a pretty great trade overall. I think, let me see here. Right now, overall gone down almost 550 pips from there. But right away, we had this immediate drop right here of 320 pips off this right here. So that's been a great one. But, again, same story. The cable against the U.S. dollar losing, it's losing its ground there. U.S. dollar coming up against it. I've got this as a 1-2 right here right now. That gives us a minimum wave 3 down here. By the way, don't worry about these other things. They're just pushed off to the side, so they're not on the screen usually. But minimum target down here, wave parentheses 3 here of about 133, 108, 1.33, 108. So the dollar, gaining ground against the Great British Pound. The cable here losing against the dollar. So yeah. Let's see here. Oh, you're from Sweden. Hey, it's great to have you, man. I got a few people from Sweden with us over in TWC. People would think I'm crazy if I eat chicken and waffles in Sweden. It's awesome. It's awesome. Actually, chicken and waffles is pretty funny. It started off really as an African American thing here in the U.S. And man, I'll tell you, it's different, but man, it's good. It is what it is. It's good stuff. So, yeah. Definitely something we're trying. Fry up some chicken, put it on your waffles there, some syrup, giving you things that you guys probably will never try. So anyway, yeah, Great British Pound looks to continue declining against the dollar here. Remember, guys, at the end of the day, though, the dollar still has to make it above that 94.72, 94.74 kind of level here. Once we get above that, that's a real good indication that bottom's most likely in. Until that, I think you're still, vulnerable to that fall, to that decline, maybe to a new low. We're pushing up pretty close there, though. It's making it harder and harder for me to still kind of stay, neutral about it. But, really, until you get above that wave 4 up there, you could still see it reversing out and heading lower. And so, when it's going against these other pairs like the cable or the loonie or, the Aussie or, the Kiwi or whatever, the Euro, whatever, the yen, all those things that you want to put it against there, they could still just be potentially a pullback before a fifth wave and then a reversal. So, yeah. I'm going to have to check out that stroopwafel stuff. Fish tacos started in Cali and have now made it to Mexico. If you're ever in Arizona, Lolo's Chicken and Waffles is amazing. Oh, man, good to know. My dad actually lives in, for a while there, was living in Arizona. So, yeah. I'm trying to get the whole family back over here to Texas now. One relative at a time, I guess it is. So, yeah. Let me see here. I guess that does it here, guys. It's really about it. Nothing really changing here. We'll see if we can get this continuation down through this there's support right here. You can see that here on the 1 hour RSI, we've got a lot of room for price to fall. Stochc RSI is making its way down pretty good so far. If we're jumping out to the 4 hour, the 4 hour's got a lot of room though. So there's our 4 hour. A lot of room in both the RSI and Stochc RSI. Daily is almost back into overbought here. Remember we were talking down here at the lows about this, at that time, potential hidden bullish divergence, which would single move up. And then, of course, we had this this big bullish engulfing. So a lot of good stuff going on there. But, as good as it looks, as bullish as it appears, you can still be long, but you've got to keep in mind these levels that you have to get through. You just don't want to be emotionally long and then, it not get through this level here and then curls all the way back here. And even though it eventually goes up, maybe you're holding onto a position for, 3 more weeks that you had no intention of holding on to. And so it's kept you from getting into other positions that you would have liked to have gotten in, that you had the opportunity to get in. So, yeah. I'm always long Bitcoin. I've been long Bitcoin since January of 2017. But I have two accounts though. I've got a investment account and I've got a trading account. I just sold Bitcoin. Let me see here. I just sold Bitcoin this morning at, let me find my thing here. Nope, that's not the right one. I will find it here. I will. See here. I just sold it this morning at about 9 a.m. this morning at 58,586 or so. I just sold some Bitcoin, so looking for this possible pullback here. My investment stuff I don't touch. I did not touch during 2018, 19, whatever, when it went up and came back down. It's meant to stay there over time, tax benefits and all. But I do trade in and out of it. I tend to trade more right now on Forex. Right now I'm trading a lot of Euro USD and USD Yen pairs right now. I'm trading a lot of that. So, yeah. Spacebird, yeah, man. Glad to have you. I thought that sounded familiar, man. The Spacebird thing. Yeah. Been watching on and off since 18, man. Gosh, it's been around forever, huh? Man, things have changed, haven't they? Glad to have you still checking on and off, man. Feelings don't count? Yeah, well, you know how they are. So I think overall, guys, I still think that we've got further to go. I think we've got mid 60s, if not 70,000 at least. I think we've still got that coming. But, I am open to the possibility that a top may be in. If I zoom out here, this is really kind of what we're looking at. We've got the big range down here. We've got the local range right there. And then we've got this descending flag-looking thing going on here. And that's really the three big patterns I'm watching. So, again, the idea being that if we drop on back down, depending on what volume looks like here for this range, things could get potentially interesting. But, to me, it looks like it should continue up higher a bit at least. So I'm thinking at least mid-60s to 70 at least. Potentially might even get 88 or so, 90. And, if you're going to get up there, I guess there's always the idea that we could have some last-minute flush and things just kind of, really just explode up. But for right now, here's one thing. I'll show you guys this real quick here. I do point and figure occasionally. And so our point and figure chart down here from this range here from the all-time high in 2017 to the breakout over here in 20, this right here gave us a $62,000 target. And so if we look at the highest point here, that's 61,000. So, off that, we've really kind of got that. And so each way along here, the 47,250, and then along the way we have another one here to 62.5. And so, it kind of suggests that maybe there's a little bit further upside, but, the target's well off this bottom area here, off this consolidation, this all-time high in 17 to the low there in 18. As it moves its way kind of back up there and breaks out of that overall range. So yeah. The Discord link, let me see here. You can go, if you've got Twitter, you can get it right here. I'll get it to you. Let me see here. It's right here on my site. Right there at DXY Capital. Let me see here. I'll make sure it's the right thing there. Yeah, there we go. There it is. The other place you can get it, guys, is at, you're welcome, howtotradetowin.com. You can go there, and from right there, you can also log in right here. Connect right here. By the way, guys, if you do decide to join us, when you log into your account, up in the left-hand corner here, it'll say update Discord username. Click on that, and then when it comes up, you just put in your username, and so that's going to be whatever your username is. So if it's I love crypto, it'll be I love crypto exactly as it's typed. There'll be a number sign, and then there'll be a 4-digit descriptor next to it, and the directions are right there on there. You just pop that in there, and that'll give you access to the Discord channels. That'll automate your access to the Discord channels. And if you ever find, if you're a paying member and you lose access for whatever reason, you accidentally leave the server or something, you can just put it right back in there and it'll sync you right back up. So, yeah. Mark says, I used up my free trial, but it was truly 7 days in heaven. I appreciate you, man. Spiral Architect, have a great day, buddy. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. I'm over my time here. I've got to get back for Discord. Got a lot of stuff to do there. Tier 3 is where it's at, guys. A lot more than what we've put here. We added more updates, assets that we update daily and intraday. Like I said, we've got about 70 hours or more of educational content. Twice weekly crypto index updates, stuff like that. Lots of stuff going on. So we'd love to have you there. But if not, guys, we were going to see you hopefully on Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be back to look at those markets again and kind of see if things are continuing as we talked about today coming up then, all right? Thank you guys so much for checking in. I appreciate you guys. I look forward to those of you in the Discord seeing y'all over there, and everybody else, hopefully, if you don't join, seeing you next Friday, or this coming Friday, I guess. Other than that, guys, remember, the only thing you control in the market is how much you lose. That's it, guys, all right? So risk management, it's more important than all the other stuff we do on the screen. If you don't have risk management, all the other stuff is not going to matter, okay? So keep working on it. You guys have a great day. Take care.